Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. In this little video, we're going to tackle dealing with different accents in online calls, online meetings, and in-person meetings, conferences, networking events, and small talk. Different accents could be from native English speakers from different parts of the world. Different accents can be people like yourself. So they're advanced or upper intermediate in English, but their accent is quite thick that you're not quite understanding exactly what they're saying. And we'll also dive into making your accent a bit more understandable for other people as you're speaking with them. Let's jump right in. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Melissa B. Duarte. I'm the author of the Global Business English Mastery Series. I'm here for all things business English. So understanding native English speakers, there's a problem with us native English speakers. I'm a teacher, so I know the difficulties that people have learning English and understanding English and speaking English as a second language. A lot of native English speakers only speak English, unlike probably a lot of Spanish speakers or French or Indian or wherever you're watching this from. You probably do speak at least two languages. So a lot of English speakers, native English speakers, only speak English. And so we're not necessarily arrogant, we're just stupid. But meaning we're not understanding that other people don't understand us. So we think we're having a meeting and you're speaking English, therefore you should understand my English. And so by using things like phrasal verbs or speaking quickly, we just assume people should understand us. We're not thinking about you struggling to understand the language. So we're not trying to be rude. It's just really ignorance. It's really just ignorance. We're not trying to be rude. We're not idiots. We're not trying to make this difficult for you. But a lot of native English speakers, we just don't slow down in meetings. We don't choose our words. We don't speak in simple language. We just speak how we speak because we're meeting you in English. Therefore, we're going to speak English. So we make zero effort. And I'm talking in general. I mean, a lot of native English speakers like myself have worked around the world, do speak multiple languages, so we get it. People like me, like we know that people do struggle to understand English in different areas and different accents, and we will, simplify our English or slow down, or we'll be careful with our accent. A lot of native English speakers, they won't. As I'm speaking to you, I'm making an effort to speak very clearly. I'm speaking the same way I'd speak to my students. I'm speaking very clearly. I'm speaking very simply in my construction and my grammar. I'm not using a lot of different vocabulary. But if I was sitting here talking to a friend of mine, I'd just be talking really quickly and not even care about it. Did you get that? Yeah. So this is how we talk amongst ourselves. The intonation's kind of out the window. It's a lot lower, and we just and words just get squished together, and the speed really does speed up. So this is the problem that a lot of people who are learning English as a second language come across when dealing with native English speakers. Networking events, online meetings, in-person meetings, conversations is a lot of native English speakers. We just don't know or care that you are not understanding what we're saying, and that's very stressful. So I'm going to teach you some terms that you could say to make sure that people do say something again for you in a way you're going to understand. And by saying, can you repeat that, or I didn't catch that, won't necessarily help you, because they're going to say the exact same thing at the same speed or louder. There's nothing wrong with your ears, and this is a problem that can be difficult. So I'm going to give you some tips here of things you can say. Okay, so let's look into why some accents can be difficult to understand. Again, if you're meeting online, or if you're meeting in person, or if it's just a casual conversation or in chat, certain accents can be really difficult to tune your ear into. I mean, I've been there even as a native English speaker, and I've lived and traveled around the world, and I've spoken to lots of different native English speakers. I'm very tuned into different accents in English. Many years ago, in my 20s, I think I was in Prague, and I was meeting with a bunch of friends, and we met a new group of friends at the university, and this one guy was speaking, and I had no idea where he was from. And I was like, parlez-vous français? Like, do you speak French, or sprechen Sie Deutsch? Or like, what language is he speaking? And after he talked to me, maybe I know a couple words. No, I had no idea what language that was. And then about word 5, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's English." And he was from Northern Ireland. And I mean, I'd lived in England, I've been to Ireland, but that Northern Irish accent, I wasn't prepared for it. My ear didn't tune into it. So he was speaking English, and he looked at me like I was the biggest idiot in the world. And I felt like the biggest idiot in the world because he was speaking English. But my ear did not register that he was speaking English. So the reason I'm telling you this story is often, I mean, you have a good level of English. You're watching my videos, you're upper intermediate, you're advanced. You have a good level of English. The other person speaking could have a very good level of English and or have, be a native English speaker. But your ear just needs time to tune into what they're saying. So and so don't be discouraged by that, and really do your research with who you're meeting, where they're from, and then you can watch YouTube videos with people with that accent just to train your ear. You need like 5 minutes, that's it. So let's say you're going into a meeting with a bunch of partners from Mumbai, and maybe the Indian accent can be quite difficult for you. Fine, they speak amazing English. You understand English. So the only thing that's not meeting, it's not their accent, it's not your understanding. You just have to tune your ear into the rhythms of how they speak and the way they speak and their accent. And it really can be as much as a 5 minute YouTube video. You just listen to it, focus. The video can be about anything, cars, cooking, whatever you're interested in. Does not have to be business at all. Just tuning your ear into that accent. And that's a really great tip to help you move into conversations and meetings when you know where someone's coming from. So for example, if you have a difficulty with the some American accents or some British accents or Scottish accents, whatever the case may be, I mean, Australian, New Zealand, I mean, the English speaking world has a wide variety of accents that if you are a learner of English, some accents can be really difficult for you. So just try to find out who you're meeting with, where they come from, and then tune yourself in to that accent. And again, watch a video on anything that interests you just 5 minutes before the meeting, just to kind of tune in and practice. And then you'll understand the rhythm, you'll understand the vowels, you'll be tuning your ear into it. Now, if you're dealing with multinational teams, which a lot of us are, and you're working online and dealing with teams across the world, well, you're in one meeting, you could have a German accent, a Spanish accent, a Russian accent, a Thai accent, and a British accent. Whew, that's pretty tricky. So in these situations, then it takes a little bit more practice. And again, understanding where people are from, this is going to help you a lot. But there's a couple tips we can use for clarification, which I'm going to teach you in the video, and also certain things that go with certain cultures and certain languages when they're speaking English that will help you understand people better. Okay, so the goal here is understanding people clearly. I mean, what's the point of doing business? You can't just smile and nod your way through that conversation. I mean, we've all been there. I mean, I speak French and Spanish, and sometimes in Spanish, I just want to just disappear. I just smile and nod. I would never do that in business, but in small talk, oh, whatever. I'm sure I'm not missing anything big, but you can't do that in business. So the key here and the goal here is clarity and understanding others. So if someone's saying something and you're not understanding them, because either again their accent is so thick or you're unfamiliar with that accent or whatever the case may be, I mean, I did a whole video on ways to say I don't understand and asking for repetition without lowering your level of professionalism. I'll link to it here, but these are some tips when this is just a matter of accent. So if you just say, can you repeat that? I didn't catch that. That's not going to help you in this situation. So one thing is you could say, I didn't catch that last part. Would you go over it again? So I didn't catch that last part. Would you go over it again? So when you say I didn't catch that last part, it just means I didn't hear it. I didn't understand it. You're not really saying why you didn't catch it, but you didn't catch it. And then can you go over that again? Or would you mind going over that again? And this just means repeat it with a bit more detail. So hopefully in that little bit of detail you're asking for, they're going to slow down. And when we do explain things, when we're presenting and we're talking and small talk and conversations and negotiations in business, we as a native English speakers, we speak at our own pace. When we have to explain things, we tend to shift our focus a little bit to present like presenting or like presentation language. And so when you say, could you go over that again, people will go, okay, what I'm talking about is, the project B, we need to push the timeline by 2 weeks. So they'll probably slow down a little bit when they do repeat it, and they will dive a little bit deeper and give you a bit more details. Another one would be, sometimes people talk really fast. And of course, that's just going to be something you're going to come across. Now, native English speakers, we speak fast. However, a lot, and I've noticed this with students too, a lot of advanced level ESL students, because you're so fluent, your English is so good, you think that by speaking fast makes you sound more advanced. Well, I can tell you 9 times out of 10 that the faster you speak, even at an advanced level of English, your pronunciation goes down, totally goes down. And so, really, if you are an advanced level English speaker, I would not speed up the speed of your speech by any means. It makes people struggle to understand you. So if you're dealing with someone who has amazing English, they're from France or they're from, I don't know, Dubai, or they're from Mexico, and they're speaking really quickly, it's their accent that's going to be kind of dropping as they speak quick. So this is where you want to say, can you just go over that last point a bit slower? Could you repeat that a bit slower for me? I'm having difficulty keeping up. Can you go over that again a bit slower? Another time when this comes across as difficult, and what you can say is, if someone comes up and they say something really quickly and you hear a key number in there, but that number was a long number or quite a few points after numbers after the points, or a very important number said so quickly amongst other words, you can just say, can you go over that number again? What did you say with that number? Would you mind going through that number again? So they're going to talk about the number, I don't know, 2.5%, but they're going to talk about what they said either side of that. And I mean, that's going to be the most important part of it. And again, you can always say what you heard back to people to make sure that you've caught their idea, you understood their idea, and you're understanding the concept. This is incredibly important. Now, sometimes if you're meeting online, this can be a lot easier. You can say, can you type that last word in? Can you type in the company name for me? Can you pop that number in the chat? So this way you can tell people that you need something written, and people are more than happy to do this all the time. So if something is key and very important and you're meeting online, can you pop that in the chat? Can you write that number down for me? Can you put that name in the chat for me? And this is fine. This does not lower your level of English at all. It means this is obviously very important. I want it written down here, and they'll do that for you. It's totally fine. Now, when it comes to a single word that maybe you're not completely understanding, and because of accent or because of you're not understanding how native English speakers say it in different parts of the world, or how advanced or upper intermediate ESL speakers say it. So were you saying shipping or skipping? Are we shipping the product or skipping the product? Right? Shipping or skipping, they're very similar. So when one word comes in, that's totally fine for you to say, did you say shipping the product or skipping the product? And so you can just clarify if you understood correctly of what they were trying to say, or 15 or 50. We want to work on 15 new products next year or 50 new products next year. So clarifying words that are difficult for you and difficult for people who don't speak English as a native language, they could be saying 15 as 50. And I've heard many advanced level C1 level students say 15 when they meant 50. So this happens a lot, and numbers are really important in business. So make sure you get clarification there. And there's quite a few other terms here that could be used in certain countries that are not used worldwide. For example, British often say not for, and it's not NOT, it's NAUGHT, not for zero. So we had a 0.5% increase in sales. Not 0.5% increase. If you don't know not means zero, that's going to be really tricky for you. So you can say, what do you mean by not? Or can you define not for me? Can you go over that number again? And if they go over that number again, they'll probably go, oh, maybe they don't know not. And they'll say zero for you. Or again, if it's an online call, just say, can you pop that into the chat? And they'll be happy to do it. Another one here would be, so the shipment is on the 12th of next week or the following week. So often we can be on Wednesday and we can say, next Friday, we'll send the shipment. Okay, next Friday, is it in 2 days from now or is it in 9 days from now? So, I mean, people have different understandings of this. If you're on a Wednesday and you're saying, we're going to send the shipment next Friday, it does not mean the Friday of that week. It means the following week. So, this can be a lot of communication errors and difficulties just in different people's understandings of different words. Okay, now we're taking a look at when people struggle to understand you. This is the flip side here. So, I mean, I've told this to you guys a lot in my videos. I mean, I'm a native English speaker. I speak French and I live in Spain and I'm learning Spanish. And sometimes I'm speaking to people and there's a look of pain on their face. I know they're struggling to understand what I'm trying to say. So you have to tune yourself into people's response to you, to their face. If someone's like, they kind of tilt their head and they have a little look on their face like, it means they're having difficulty understanding you. So really tune yourself into the other person's face. If they're kind of, if they're going back a little bit or leaning forward a little bit, a little look of pain in their eyes or in their face means they're struggling to understand you. So, and this happens. I mean, it happens to me all the time. So what do you do in these situations? Well, there's a couple things you can do. First of all, you could reset your delivery. And delivery is how you express your ideas, how you present something, how you say something. So if you're noticing this, okay, simplify your words. Of course, you're learning English and you work in business. There's great vocabulary that you want to use. Well, maybe you're not pronouncing it correctly. Maybe your phrasal verb you're trying to use, you used the wrong preposition. Maybe an idiom, you dropped an article from an idiom and then the person's not understanding an idiom. Maybe the language you're using is too advanced for the person you're speaking with. Well, communication is about communication. So if you're using a level of English that's higher than the people you're speaking to, you're not going to sound smarter and more intelligent than them. You're going to sound out of touch and a little arrogant. And what's the point of doing business if you can't communicate with people? So first of all, make sure that your language is right. So that's one thing that's very important, making sure the language you use matches the people you're delivering to and speaking with. Now, another thing here, again, like I said, is speed. If you are advanced, an advanced level ESL speaker, you're going to be very fluent. You're going to have great grammar. You're going to have great pronunciation. You're going to have a wide amount of vocabulary. Slow down. Slow down. And it's really important. Accent and pronunciation goes down. Unless you're at a proficient level, slowing down your accent is going to be a lot better. So keep that in mind, even if you're really excited in an interview or you're very passionate or you want to showcase your great English. Trust me, you're going to have better English. I mean, the pace I'm speaking right now is a great pace for speaking in English. And a lot of other speakers can speak a lot quicker. Did you catch that? I said a lot of other speakers can speak a lot quicker. Now, fine, speaking a lot quicker, fine. But if your native language is not English, this won't help people understand you. So slow down a little bit. This is very, very important. Another one here is to really chunk what you're trying to say. Now, chunk is like if I have a chocolate bar and you want some chocolate, I'll give you a chunk. I'll snap off 4 pieces and give it to you. So a chunk is a big part of something. So chunk what you're saying as if you're writing an essay, right? An essay is going to have those clear paragraphs. Well, communicate that way. Communicate in chunks. And between those chunks, give people a little bit of a break. Pausing is totally fine. So you can't overwhelm them, inundate's like a tsunami of information. With information, you want to deliver what you need, say what you need, Give a little bit of a pause, allow them to digest it, allow them to ask, if they have any questions. So that's very important too, to deliver what you're saying, not in a big, massive amount of text and speech. Slow it down, give it in pieces, and then people will understand a little bit better. Another one here is swap out your language for easier words. I mentioned this a little bit before, but truly, if I mean, you want to say, we need to, we need to purchase new equipment for the warehouse. Well, if you're saying purchase, if you're pronouncing purchase wrong, if you say purchase, purchase, purchasey, who knows? I mean, there's so many different interpretations if you don't pronounce the word correctly. If someone that doesn't understand what you're saying, purchase, that's the wrong intonation. Notice people have a little bit of pain on their face. They're struggling to understand you. Maybe you're stressing the wrong vowel in a word. Maybe you're mispronouncing a word. Maybe you're saying a word they don't know. Simplify your language a little bit. This is important. When it comes to acronyms, this is important too. Be kind to people. If people are I mean, if you're a non-native English speaker and you're speaking to people and you notice, and again, you have to look at their faces. You can see in their faces if they're having a difficulty understanding you, and be kind to them. If you say, we want to up the VAT, and they go, and you can kind of see they're not VAT, value added tax. So if you use acronyms, or if you use certain jargon in your business that maybe someone else from another industry doesn't know, then just explain it for them. That's perfectly fine. It's very nice. Also, I mean, if you maybe you're a native French speaker and you can say the new client Renault. Well, Renault. What does that mean? I don't understand Renault, because they're saying it in their native language. Oh, that's Renaud. So sometimes, if you're saying a word perfectly in Spanish, but you're speaking to people who are German speakers and English speakers, if you say it with perfect Spanish pronunciation, well, they're gonna struggle to understand that word. So if it's an online meeting, pop it into the chat for them. If not, spell it out. So Renaud, I have to think of how to spell it. Renaud. And they go, oh, Renault. Okay. And they'll then identify what you mean by that word or that name, which is quite important. Again, if you have an email or you have something that's quite long, not everyone knows the symbol, the meaning for the symbol or the word for the symbol at, or dot, or point, or hyphen, or M dash, or forward slash, backslash, colon. So punctuation can be very difficult for people. So if you're giving someone an email address or a URL and it's verbal, you can't pop it in the chat, that can be pretty difficult. So you do want to be quite careful when you're delivering URLs, email addresses, if they're a little bit more complicated than just simple hello.com. You do want to make sure maybe you can send it to them, or say I'll text it to you later, I'll email it to you later, and people appreciate that. Another one here to be better understood is, again, kind of like what I was saying about we need to contact the client, no, well, no, REA, and you're going to spell it out for them, is when it comes to your name. So, for example, my name is Melissa. Melissa, that's my name. It's Melissa. It's always been my name, Melissa. Well, I live in Spain. If I say Melissa, people just, what is that mysterious name? Well, they have the same name in Spanish, but it's Melissa. So I've given up introducing myself as Melissa in Spain. I'm not Melissa, I'm Melissa. And like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And I would say Melissa before. They're like, Vanessa? I'm like, no, Melissa, you have this same name in your language, but they pronounce it differently. What's the point of me saying my name like Melissa if no one understands it? So nice to meet you. I'm Melissa. And so I pronounce my name in a way that they're going to understand it. This would be same for Russian speakers. If your name is Yuri, and I believe in Russian you'd stress the very second. I think in Russian you pronounce the second syllable of a name, so Yuri. But we English speakers and a lot of the world would say Yuri. So by saying your name in the way that other people would understand it or pronounce it, even though it's not your native, it does help people understand your name. And this is great for company names also. Very, very important to match to the ear that you're speaking with. So these are very important. Hopefully, this helps you communicate better in English and understand people better in English. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I wish you luck in your next meeting, whether it's in person or online or interview. And understand that if you don't understand someone, it's not them and it's not you. Something's just not connecting, and there are ways to get someone to understand you, and there are ways for you to understand people better. And again, if you do know the people you're meeting with, spend some time in their world, go on YouTube, watch a video on anything you want with that region's accent, and that will in English obviously, and that will really help you tune your ear into different accents. Thank you so much for joining me. If you did enjoy this video, I encourage you like and subscribe to my channel and check my other videos for pronunciation and online meetings. Thank you.